Okay. Are you going to use yours in there?
Sure.
If I use these?
Yeah.
Alrighty. Hello, lovely people, and welcome to the Vintage House Show. It is the Spotlight with your host, DJ Mami. We are here every second Wednesday talking about what's new and what we got going on in house music. Today, we are going to focus on the House Music Conference happening next week in Chicago at the Cultural Center across the street from the Bean in Millennium Park. Y'all know the tourist spots there, so go check out the Bean and then come check us out at the House Music Conference happening from 5 to 10 p.m. It's totally free, so bring your friends, bring your family. Today, we got some special guests from that conference joining us. So everyone, please, wherever you are, give a warm welcome to Madeline and Jacob Arnold. Hello.
Hello.
Why don't y'all go ahead, introduce yourselves, tell us a little bit more about who you are and where you're from.
I'm Madeline. I am a resident DJ at Smart Bar, and I'm originally from California. I've lived in Chicago for about 10 years. I've had a show on this radio station for almost that same amount of time, and I'm also a senior front-end engineer at Splice, which is a samples subscription company, and I'm working on the audio apps team there. I'll be participating in a panel about technology and house music, so it all feels aligned in that way.
Cool. I'm Jacob Arnold. I'm a freelance music journalist. Actually, I'm on staff at Northwestern, my day job, but my passion is writing about house music and techno. Grew up in Rochester, New York, listened to mix shows on the radio, got super inspired, and that brought me back to the source, and I've been learning about house music history probably 15 years or so.
Nice. I love. So I'll start off with an easy question. What do each of you love about house music? And what was your introduction to house and techno music?
Big and good question. I think hard to answer like what I love the most about house music, but I think for me, I was like going out and raving or whatever the equivalent of a rave was when in like the early 2010s in California,
Real
in the Bay
underground
Area.
vibes, for sure.
Yeah, it was some underground, some less underground, but it wasn't until I moved here and really started digging into the history of house music that I feel like I really found that sort of like release and connection to my body on the dance floor that I hadn't felt before, and like it kind of fundamentally changed the reasons that I would go out and like what I would seek. So that's just one of the things about it. I feel like it just really moves me in a way that I can't necessarily put into words, and I like that.
Yeah, what I love about house music is the community. I feel like every time I go out dancing, it just this sense of being embraced by all these people that are there for the same reason, just to have fun and be really accepting of each other. It just feels like a big family to me.
Yeah, we were talking about that before the show started, about like Movement Fest and these different places where it just feels like a place to dance and exist and be. And I mean, house music has queer roots. It has these roots in just joy, radical spaces of celebration. And so it's nice to hear, both of you touch on that, especially from your different perspectives. I want to hear, from the performance side and the working in the technology side, but also writing about it and seeing these trends over time. How have you noticed house music as a genre change and evolve since maybe like, let's say, early 2000s?
You want to go first?
Well, yeah, I feel like there was sort of a resurgence in the early 2000s where people were doing more lo-fi house that brought things back to the early tracks, the beat tracks that started things off. and I felt like that was a really exciting time. And now I think it's progressed from there, and people are actually getting more professional, if you can use that term, but like mastering things better so that you can play on better sound systems, and you're getting like more variety too of sounds. It's almost like people are exploring some things that you wouldn't typically think of as house, faster speeds and a wider range of sounds. So that's pretty exciting to me.
Yeah, I would definitely agree. I think like anything that starts underground and then, eventually becomes more commercial and then goes back underground and becomes more commercial, there are always ebbs and flows. And of course, when it becomes more commercial, there's always still that underground element. But I think, especially in the last few years, there's definitely been like more younger people kind of turning to learning about the origins of house. And not just necessarily the sometimes more sanitized European versions that they might get. And by sanitized, I just mean sometimes it feels like a little bit, I don't know, too polished or more mechanical or things like that. And so it's great to see younger people also having all the access to journalists such as yourself who write about all this history and do deep dives into like labels and figures and people that you might not necessarily have had the chance to hear about in like the early stages of the internet unless you were in a particular place or had access to particular, resources. So yeah, I feel like, and Beyonce featuring a lot of house producers and having Honey Dijon be her musical director on
Terry
like
Hunter
Renaissance
with the
and Terry
remix.
Hunter.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
So it's definitely having like the sort of roots are having a moment, and that's really great to see.
Yeah, and I like how you touched on kind of this historical element going back to roots. And I want to hear both of your perspectives on, here at the Vintage House Show, something that's big to us is preserving the stories, the culture, especially because we still have a lot of these legends living with us, and so for both of yours, perspective, what do you think we can do just as culture creators, as DJs, as dancers, as whoever, what can we do to continue preserving the history but also rewriting stories and narratives for ourselves? How can we blend that preserving but also looking towards the future?
That's a really good question. I think bringing more young people in, as counterintuitive as that seems, it's like there's these older generations, like you said, they're still with us, but in a sense, their stories aren't progressing at this point, which is not to, show any disrespect towards them, but I think bringing young people in who can actually be inspired and take those sounds, those classic sounds, in a new direction is really important to keep the scene alive.
Yeah, I agree. I think like to your point, to the question and to what Jacob just said, like anything involving preservation sort of has to involve also innovation. Like the only way to keep something alive is to, you can still honor its roots and incorporate some of its more foundational sounds while still pushing it into like using modern tools or just challenging yourself to do other things that can kind of continue carrying the genre into a new era, so it doesn't just become a thing of the past or like something that people look on, in that sort of retrospective way.
Definitely. And I think, Jacob, did you want to expand on anything?
Well, I was just going to say, I hope to touch on this in my panel, but I know a lot of house tracks that were recorded, say, 30, 35 years ago, the songwriters can get the rights back. And I think that might be important to monetize the early tunes as well, just so that they are preserved, just because they have value that way for licensing or reselling them as digital tracks.
Actually, Jacob, it's so interesting you bring that up, because in the conference last year, Terry Hunter was a panelist, and he touched on that, how he remembers being in London, and it was his first time. He was like, I don't know, 19, 20 years old, and he hears his track playing, and he's like, wait a second, how did my music, no one told me my music is over here. Not just over here, it's being sold and it's being played in the clubs, and like
someone's making money.
Exactly.
On it. Yeah.
He didn't see a dime of that. And I think that is something we hear so often from the the older, producers is that they did not know where to even begin when it
Right.
came to like licensing and all that stuff. And I mean, maybe both of you can touch on this in your experience. What resources are out there for young artists or for people getting started, even those maybe someone who is older and has their music out. How can they get their rights back? This is like so new to me.
Yeah, maybe you could speak more to the like getting their rights back in a retro, because I don't really know much about that. I mean, I do know that now there's so much information out there about licensing, and when I was releasing my first EP, I could like Google and like find a bunch of
Right.
things and figure out what I needed to do, and like you go to a distributor like CD Baby or something, and they'll kind of handle uploading everything to platforms. Obviously, it gets more complicated if you're like splitting royalties with people, but there's definitely more knowledge among younger people or people who are newer to this realm, because people have heard those like stories from the past, and also of course like the music industry has evolved in a lot of ways since then. But I don't know if you could speak to the getting royalties back retroactively.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not an expert or a lawyer or anything, but I know that there's the songwriting rights and then there's the master recording rights. And for the songwriting rights, actually for both, I believe after 35 years, there's this 5-year window where you can get them back, from the publisher or from the label that signed you. It's part of this 1976 Copyright Act that was passed. But then also important, there's music publishers like BMI or I think it's ASCAP, where you can just sign up and they'll manage the licenses for you, make sure you get your royalties, and they can actually make deals with people and take a little cut. So that's something that young people can find out about as well.
Oh wow, that is so. I love that. I love whenever artists have these rights in that way. If this is a topic that interests you and you're listening, we will be touching on all of this next week. There will actually be a lawyer present and one of the panels that is going to touch on all of these, ideas around copyright and intellectual property and things like that. So this is a great like sneak peek for next week.
Jacob will be on that panel, right?
Yes. I think you're going to be on the paid and played, which is
different.
both of them kind of do focus. We have the paid and played, and then the future sound of house. Both are kind of going to focus and touch on the business elements and how to monetize and what has been done in the past, what are new things we're seeing now. So definitely we're touching on the business as well as the culture, which is why we're so excited.
Yeah, that's
about the
definitely
panel.
important. Yeah.
And so I kind of want to shift gears a little bit and touch a little more individually on each of your careers with the question, what is a project or a gig, an article, a moment that you're very proud of in your career as it relates to, house music or whatever that looks like for you? And take your time. It's a big question.
I know it is a big question, but I did have something jump to mind right away because
Sure.
I had the opportunity to open for Honey Dijon last September.
Oh,
which
snap.
was such an amazing
Our royalty
experience.
How's
Yeah, it was really something, especially just
Where was it
because
at? Like,
it was
tell us
at
about
Smart
it.
Bar.
Okay.
And then it was also DJ Heather on the lineup. So,
Oh,
two
wow.
very iconic Chicago
And
house
Heather's,
people.
an OG too.
Yeah,
So it's like
yeah.
this nice lineage of
Exactly.
DJs.
Yeah, it was really great. And like it was, 10 to 12:30, 2.5-hour set, but it was like very busy by like 11 because people
Wow.
just come to see her. So it was just a really great energy and a set that a lot of people have kind of, said that they really enjoy. So it's definitely a highlight in my recent memory.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say one of my first pieces was actually the most rewarding because I started this blog called Gridface, and there was this group, Virgo 4, that had put out a couple of EPs back in the 80s, but they were a real mystery. Like, nobody knew anything about them. And as far as I could tell, nobody had ever tried to interview them. So I think I looked someone up in the phone book. I mean, I just like found one of the producers' names, and it turned out that he and his partner are still making music, and just they had all these tapes in a closet. And just based on this piece that I self-published, the label Rush Hour got in touch with them and released all that unreleased material. So that was rewarding, just as far as bringing attention to this.
Yeah, like you got to see the power of what journalism and writing can do for artists. Because the media and the publicity is just as important as the actual talent and performance itself, you know.
Yeah.
And how long, Jacob, have you been a writer or in this industry of journalism?
Well, that's tough. Yeah. So I actually had a radio show in the 90s called Tech Hop. And then I think I started my site as like a personal site in 96, believe it or not. But then
Wow, you're
I
like one of
turned
the first people on the internet.
I know.
Like,
Super early days, like all mailing lists. And then 99 is when I started Gridface, which is kind of my home blog now.
okay.
But it picked up when I moved to Chicago about 15 years ago.
Okay.
Mhm.
That's when I started writing a lot of other publications.
So you've really seen the almost commencement of house and techno and this explosion, because the 90s were a really big time
Yeah.
for house and techno.
Yeah, back then everything was going mainstream. All the labels were saying electronic music was the next big thing. You know, there's like an MTV show and like Orbital and Orb and Tricky were playing Lollapalooza. Like I saw a lot of those shows, but then it was like everything dropped off. And suddenly, I think the anti-rave laws, and then labels or the industry realizing they couldn't make the money off it.
Yeah. And it's interesting because I feel like now, kind of like what you touched on, like the Beyonce influence and stuff, I feel like labels are kind of paying attention to house in a way they haven't in a while. You know, we kind of saw EDM with its moment, but this feels like a different resurgence. Even with like Amapiano, which is, you know, African roots of house. It's very interesting seeing house in the conversation again.
Definitely.
So, well, thank you so much for sitting and joining me today on the spotlight as we prep for the conference next week. How can we follow and support each of you? Instagram or events coming up? Any shout out?
I'm on Instagram at soft.content, and I'm on SoundCloud at soundcloud.com/Madeline-URL. I have a lot of studio mixes and live mixes up on there. And what am I doing next? I'm playing this Friday at the California Clipper. Should be pretty low key. And then next Sunday, the Sunday after the panel, I'm playing at Smartbar for the Pride Queen, which will be chaotic but fun.
Early arrival, highly suggested.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's going to be fun.
I'm excited. It's always a good time.
Great. I might have to come check you out.
Definitely let me know. I'll list you.
But okay, that's
the magic words,
right? And Jacob, how can we follow and support you?
I would say gridface.com is GRIDFACE. My social media is on there at the bottom, and any recent pieces. And it's hard to say upcoming stuff because usually I have things in the works and I don't know exactly when they're coming out. I do liner notes for Still Music and Past Due Music, which is the Chicago label. And then beyond the panel, I'm working on some documentaries with some people. So yeah, keep an eye on my blog, and I'll post links as they come.
Awesome. Okay, well, you know, we're gonna get into this mix with Madeline. They're gonna spin for us for the next 20 or so minutes, and then I'll close us out. So I'm excited to hear this mix. You're gonna get a taste of what you can hear this Friday or Sunday after Queen. Oh, that's gonna be. I'm getting my outfit ready in my head already, just thinking about it.
I approve of that.
You are tuned into the Vintage House Show Spotlight on WNUR 89.3 FM and HD1 Evanston, Chicago. I am your host, DJ Mami. If you want to follow and support me, you can keep up with me on Instagram and Twitter. Mostly Instagram. Twitter is kind of where I just dump my thoughts, my positivity thoughts. On Instagram, if you want to see where I'm DJing, or if you want to learn more information and get more details about the House Music Conference next week, my socials are at Mami Music, MOMAMI Music. And if you're listening, give us a shout out, you know, on Twitter, on Instagram. Let me know you're tuned in. Let me know if you'll be there next week. And we're about to get into this mix. Yep.
Thank you. That was fun.
Oh my gosh, so much fun. Here we go. Start here.
Oh, you're good. feel good, I feel nice. I've never felt so satisfied. I feel good, I feel nice. I've never felt so satisfied. I feel good, I feel nice. I've never felt so satisfied. Never been so satisfied. I feel good, I feel nice. Never been so satisfied.
Let me see your dick work.
Funk ass bitches. Flip it, flip it, flip it, flip it, flip it.
Let me see your dick work. Dick work. 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 Let me see your dick work.
Hold up.
Wait a minute. Let me see your dick work. Wait a minute. Let me see your dick work. Wait a minute. Let me see your
Wait a minute.
Let me see your dick work.
Wait a minute.
Let me see your dick work.
Hold up. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Hold up. Wait a minute. Maddie, baby. Maddie, baby. Maddie, baby. Maddie, baby. Got that pony girl.
Let me see your dick work.
Wait a minute.
Let me see your dick work.
Wait a minute.
Let me see your dick work.
Wait a minute.
Let me see your dick work. Let me see your dick work.
Wait a minute.
Let me see your dick work.
Hold up. Wait a minute.
Let me see your dick work.
Wait a minute.
Let me see your dick work.
Hold up. Wait a minute. Robbie, baby. Robbie, baby. Ride that pony girl. Ride that pony girl. Robbie, baby. Robbie, baby. Ride that pony girl. Ride that pony girl.
star. I love you just the way you are. Oh, baby, you're my shining star. I love you.
Thanks for listening to the Vintage House Show podcast. Please subscribe and share, and check us out live, WNUR 89.3 FM, Wednesdays at 10 o'clock.